Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Here's to holiday traditions, the ones that started as a quick laugh but are now irreplaceable. Here's to the recipes that require Grandma's mixing bowl because they just won't taste the same without it. The Chinette brand believes in spending more time on traditions and less time cleaning up. With the Chinette Crystal, Comfort, and Classic collections, we can help make your holiday celebrations better for years to come. Here's to mixing timeless traditions with a few new ones. Here's to us, all of us. To find out more, visit mychinette.com.
Hi guys, this is Matt with Bigfoots Paranormal, coming to you with another paranormal podcast. So Amanda and I were trying to do a coordination of podcasts today where we were talking back and forth about Bigfoot, and for some reason, something just likes to mess with everything. I am in the Bigfoots Paranormal office. No, there's not a Bigfoot standing behind me. Well, not technically. That actually is just a piece of wall art. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to be doing a podcast on Mondays, which is our normal podcast release dates. And then we're now going to be doing a podcast on Fridays. On this podcast, which I'm going to release here in a little while, we're going to be talking about Bigfoot because everybody keeps asking me about Bigfoot.
How long was Neil Armstrong actually on the moon? When did Europe start speaking English? Did Marco Polo really go to China? CuriosityStream is the streaming service for all things history, plus science, wildlife, and more. What's the real story behind the Mona Lisa? We've got that. What caused the collapse of Rome? We know. Where did we find mankind's earliest ancestor? Come find out. For the holidays, give the gift of curiosity with 25% off gift cards for your curious cohorts. It's holiday shopping season at curiositystream.com/gift.
Don't get your tinsel in a tangle. Plato's Closet in North Charleston and West Ashley can help make your holiday easier with cash for clothes. Sell us your gently used trendy styles to earn cash on the spot. We need your denim, dressy clothes, sweaters, boots, and more. Plato's Closet buys and sells sustainable styles. Earn cash to make holiday spending less stressful. Don't get your tinsel in a tangle this year. Simply get cash for your cool clothes at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
More questions. Keep doing Bigfoot stuff. We really like it. It seems like about 60-70% of our fan base really is into Bigfoot. So we're going to continue on with that. We'll be talking about our research, talking about different places we've been, and kind of filling you guys in on our normal podcast that come out every Monday. Essentially, Amanda and I talk about locations we've been to, cases we're working on, what's going on with them. Did we experience anything? Did we have any personal experiences? In other words, can we talk about anything that isn't going to be on our YouTube channel, and stuff like that. We'll give kind of like little teasers here and there. But this podcast, I want to start basically doing like a 5 to 10 to 15 minute podcast. Amanda's in the other room laughing. I can hear her. There's no way she thinks I can do a podcast in about 5 to 10 minutes. Anyways, so there are Bigfoots not only in every state, but possibly almost every continent in the world. They have different names. we call them Bigfoot, Sasquatch, skunk ape, and other names here in the United States. They have Yeti and the Yowie and all these other things in different countries, Asia and Australia. So it seems like every continent seems to have their own type of Bigfoot like creature. And so what we'll do is we'll take a deep dive into that, and we'll take a look and see. We'll just talk about it. We'll discuss the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. We're going to actually start in Texas. One of the questions I get asked a lot. We get a lot of mail, emails, text messages, and a lot of stuff, messages through social media, on our YouTube channel, through our TikTok channel. We get messages all the time from people asking us questions about Bigfoot, and or basically asking us to come out and check out their location. So essentially, we're going to basically start with Texas, maybe talk about some of the locations that we've been to, and kind of go from there. So the hot spots we cover here in Texas, they're not spots that like other people have never known about. Sam Houston National Forest, Daniel Boone National Forest, East Texas, anywhere in East Texas, all along from basically from the coast all the way up Louisiana's border, and then Kansas, Oklahoma, that area, the right half of Texas has a very high number of sightings. And so the way we basically do our research, people ask me, how do you pinpoint a location? We go out and essentially we go look. We drive around. I drag Amanda through the forest, and she was trying to talk about her Bigfoot experience earlier, or possible Bigfoot encounter. Just so you guys know, everything I'm talking about, Bigfoot related or anything paranormal related, you have to take with a grain of salt. This is just based off of my research, my experiences, and what other people have told me they've experienced as well. So basically, it's all theory at this point. Until we can get something substantial, it's always going to be theory. And so, I'll let the conspiracy theorists run away with that one. But anyways, so locations. So what we do is we go out, I go online, I'll look at locations online. I have a Google map that I pin any credible report I hear about onto that. Doesn't matter if it's Texas or somewhere else. I pin those. And so what I'll do is once I pin those, I'll start to look for clusters, especially here in Texas. And then when I start seeing clusters, I kind of look back, okay, when did this happen? How many sightings are at this location? And if there's enough sightings, enough recent sightings, what I do is we will, Amanda and I, will head out to those locations, and we kind of drive around. We kind of just slowly but surely, 5-10 miles an hour, drive through the forest, up and down those logging roads that some of them are pretty damn bad. We do have a 4-wheel vehicle. So, we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no cell phone service. Sometimes there's no GPS service. It's like, okay, it's just one way in, way out. We're good. We're not going to get lost out here. But we carry whatever we need with us just in case something does happen. And then, people know to come looking for us if we don't return for some weird reason. But that's the other side of Bigfooting. You got to be so careful, not just because, people get lost all the time out in these forests. It takes them days, sometimes weeks or months to find them, and sometimes they're not found at all, especially here in Texas. If you have not seen the missing 411 video, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little long, a little drawn out, and it's kind of slow, but it does talk about possible Bigfoot reports without the Bigfoot reports. Them seeing hairy creatures, kids disappearing and then reappearing where they were lost and stuff. So anyways, Texas has a lot of caverns, and there's a lot of theory. We'll get into this in another podcast maybe, there's a lot of theory that Bigfoots maybe hide underground and then come up whenever they want, or maybe there's portals, or I mean, I always say, I don't expect anybody to believe, and this goes for anything, not just Bigfoot, UFO, ghosts, anything paranormal, or anything. You could put that to anything actually, but I don't expect anybody to believe until they've had an encounter that they can say it couldn't have been anything else but, and put whatever you want in there, ghost, UFO, Bigfoot, whatever. So essentially, that's something I always say to people. I want people to remain skeptic. I try and remain skeptic. Amanda's a skeptic, which is awesome. Or Bigfoot's, at least. She knows ghosts exist, but she unfortunately at this point has not had an actual sighting that she can say, okay, Matt, I agree, they're real. And that's cool. I mean, that's why she comes out with me. That's why she lets me drag her out into the forest, I'm pretty sure, because she does want to possibly see something that she just, can't comprehend. Why is that there? You know what I mean? So anyways, what makes a good Bigfoot territory? Good Bigfoot territory: cover, forests, or some kind of a brush or something that they can hide behind. Not only to hide from us, but to ambush prey and stuff like that. Has to be a location where there's a lot of animals. Well, not necessarily. Has to have some kind of food source. Let's put it that way. They have to be able to eat. I mean, if you look at a Bigfoot, now I've seen them all different shapes and sizes. I've seen them from 4 feet tall to close to 20. And, people say, oh, well, they're normally between 6 and 10 feet tall. No, not necessarily. That's juveniles. I believe that maybe 40 or 50% of the sightings that are out there are juvenile Bigfoots. These guys are, maybe teenagers, probably been kicked out of their group, and they're heading for another group to go find themselves a female or whatever. Or they're just going to go off on their own. They've been kicked out of the group for whatever reason. They're old enough so that they can be on their own, I guess. It's kind of like when, we leave the house, when our parents say, okay, time to go. So yeah, I think that's basically what people are seeing and experiencing. And then what else makes a good Bigfoot territory? They have to, like I said, they have to have some kind of food source. The things that I found in Bigfoot territory kills, let's just put it, kills deer, rabbit, squirrels, raccoons, possums, pigs, and then they also possibly eat vegetables and fruits too, corn and apples and possibly walnuts. I've heard somebody say that they had a walnut tree and they came out and they found a Bigfoot collecting walnuts. And then there's they love sweets, especially juveniles. We met with David, and he is a extremely intelligent man. He is like a rocket scientist, literally like a rocket scientist. He's super duper smart. He has them living across his property too. It's kind of like Joe does, except for he has a road between them and him. And so the juveniles will come out and they'll play up in the trees, and he's seen them, real close. One of these days we might have to have him on to the podcast and see if he wants to talk about his experiences. But so I don't want to share too many of his experiences. But anyways, he gifts food to them. He takes a paper plate, he smothers it with peanut butter, he puts Nutter Butters, the cookies, Oreos cookies, he puts grapes, he puts apples, sliced apples, and then he puts a PBJ sandwich, which he cuts the crust off for them, and then leaves it. He walks out into the forest, sets it down, and walks away. And then he's been lucky enough to see a bunch of the juveniles in there eating. So, they sit down and they share it. They share the meal, which is cool, which means that they're not all for themselves. They're an intelligent entity, whatever they are. That kind of covers what do they eat and their Bigfoot territory. Another thing they need is some kind of substance, water. Besides food, they need water and maybe a place to cool off. A lot of people see them by lakes, rivers, creeks, and stuff like that because they're going down to possibly get a drink of water. I mean, look at Joe's camp. Joe's camp has freshwater springs. He has like 3 or 4 of them on his property. So that could be possibly what's drawing them to his property. He says he sees them in the bottoms. So anyways, that could possibly be why. How long do they live? My first sighting was of a silvery gray Bigfoot. Now you can see in my beard if you're watching this show, I've got a little tiny bit of gray left and a lot of white kind of coming in now. But essentially, I'm 40. What am I? 46 now. So essentially, I'm 46, and my hair's starting to change colors. So I'm wondering if maybe they have a similar progression. Maybe in the early 40s to early 50s, they start to maybe turn silvery grayish color. Maybe they start to lose some of the pigment in their skin. I'm sorry, in their fur. And maybe that's what happens. Because I've seen them, like I said, I've seen them all the way from about 4 feet tall all the way up to ginormous, almost 20 feet. And so I don't know how long they live. I would imagine they probably live into their 50s or 60s. If you look at gorillas, one thing, I don't just study Bigfoots. I also look at other primates, humans. I also look at different types of animals like gorillas and monkeys and orangutans. The fur colors of those animals are pretty close to the colors I've seen for Bigfoot. I've seen tan, I've seen kind of a blondish color, I've seen dark brown, I've seen light brown, and I've seen red. So that's 5 different colors. And if you look at the colors of those types of animals, excuse me as I regain my thought here. If you look at the animals that are out there, like the gorillas, the monkeys, and all that stuff, they're all those colors. They share a lot of facial features with like gorillas or orangutans. I was at a zoo one time and I actually saw a orangutan start walking, and basically walking with its arms on the ground, and then basically it stood up and then walked normally and then crouched back down and then laid down. And I'm like, holy crap, I've seen that before. That's exactly what I saw in a Bigfoot sighting. I saw that. So essentially, it's just a study. You've got to keep studying to find out more. We really need to get, I know there's DNA samples out there, but we really do need to get some kind of maybe live Bigfoot without the government knowing, to basically really do some very quiet research, if you will. One of these days, somebody's going to be able to do that. Somebody's going to get the funding and get the right people together, and we're going to be able to capture Bigfoot, and we're going to be able to get some blood samples, some hair samples, maybe some saliva, maybe some skin samples, and then hopefully safely release the animal back out to where it was without anybody really knowing it happened. And that may have already happened. I don't know. I know the military supposedly is messing with, these kind of things. I don't want to get too involved with that because I don't want them shutting me down. But so who knows exactly how long they live. That's why we do the research. That's why we're always interested in learning more. But anyways, what I want to do is I'll go through on each podcast, state by state. I want to break down maybe regions. Maybe in one podcast, we'll talk about the Daniel Boone National Forest. We'll talk about all of the sightings in that area. Maybe we'll talk about the Sam Houston National Forest or the next one. The next one I can kind of cover Joe's, maybe, if I can get it all in 15 minutes. and we'll talk about the reports. We'll talk about what's been seen, what happened during the sightings, if I can find that information. And then we will talk about, why did it happen and stuff, what the theories behind why I think it happened. And then we'll kind of just take a deep dive into it. And we'll talk about the different names of Bigfoots that are throughout the United States. I mean, in Texas here alone, I think there's, I don't know, 3 or 4 different types of creatures that are all like Bigfoot-like, that all have different names. They don't call them Bigfoot. So anyways, guys, what we'll do is next Friday, we'll put out another podcast. We'll start with Texas, and we'll talk about different sightings in different locations. And we'll go a little bit more into why do I like this location. What I'll probably do is, if you're listening, you won't be able to see it, but on our YouTube channel, we post a video podcast, and I'll take the Google Maps and I'll show you guys where the sightings happened, and we'll kind of zoom in a little bit to them, and we'll take a look around and just see why maybe that happened. It'll be kind of interesting for you guys, I think. And for the people that are really trying to get into this research and learn more, maybe I can give them a little insight, or if you have something that you want to let me know about, hey, try this, or hey, this really worked for us, or whatever. If you're another Bigfoot team or whatever, feel free to comment down below. We always like comments. We always like feedback. This is a complete learning process. There's no, I don't think there's really, I don't want to say there's a right way to do it, but there's also, there are wrong ways to do it, but there aren't really any limitation to, hey, you should try this, or hey, this worked for us, or whatever. Anyways, also, if you'd like to come onto the podcast, doesn't matter if it's Bigfoot related, anything paranormal. If you had a paranormal experience that was cool and you want to share it, please feel free to contact us. We're always looking for guests. That'll be on the Monday show. And then we always are looking for, other collaborators too. If you want us to come on your show, we're happy to as well. So we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on almost all the social medias. And then of course YouTube and then TikTok as well. So you guys can, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If this does well, we'll continue on with this series. And since we have so many new people joining our podcasts, we'll start doing a podcast on Monday and Fridays. So, and if that continues to get more popular, we'll continue to add podcasts as we can. So we're going to start doing 2 podcasts instead of 1 a week. And so this one will release every Friday, and then we have one that normally releases on Mondays. So you guys won't have to go too long waiting for a podcast. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you to all of our people that have been with us from the beginning. Thank you to all the people that have just signed up or downloaded our stuff or just started listening to us. Thank you guys so much for the downloads and the listens and the likes and all that stuff. We really appreciate it. You guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you later.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.